It is the Dead Air Horror Review Show with Chris and TJ,
Hello, hello.
and we
Good to
we
see you
want to
all
wish
again.
you and yours happy holidays. And we celebrate it in the only way we know how, by watching a movie that's a borderline porno film that happens to take place in Christmas time. It's called Silent Night, Deadly Night, and
It's a
classic
slashic, classic
classic
slashic.
TJ burying the lead. This may be my favorite movie of all time. This
Wow.
movie,
I can't
this
say I'm
movie,
necessarily surprised because I feel like it like clicks all the
this
boxes
is
for you
this is
and
this
most of
this
mine.
this is one of the most insane fucking. I can't believe this movie got funding. Like, I googled this movie as I was watching it, and apparently there was like a huge controversy when it was
Huge.
released,
Yep.
and I understand why, because it is vile. It is. First of all,
But
in
no one had
inside.
even seen it yet before they started protesting it. So they
Oh,
really didn't
wait till they
know.
saw it.
Oh yeah. They were only protesting it because, this is we're talking back in the 80s, mid 80s. A killer Santa Claus.
That's
Forget about
hilarious.
it.
So
Like
they
that
hadn't even
was
seen the movie yet.
no, there was TJ, this was premiering at a theater in Queens in New York, and it had hundreds of protesters, like Christian protesters,
That
protesting
hadn't
the
even
fact that
seen the
Santa was a
movie.
murderer,
Oh my
which
god.
it wasn't even Santa Claus. It was a
No,
dude.
wasn't the real Santa
It
Claus.
wasn't the real. Well,
I
spoiler
mean, the
alert:
first guy
there
could have
is no
been.
real Santa Claus.
Hold on, slow down. Um, like in the first, I don't know, 15 minutes of this movie, it's like murder. Then that there's this guy that's just in a Santa costume, and he's like I guess a thrill killer. I guess I don't know.
Yeah, there was
He
no rhyme or reason as to why he killed. There
he
doesn't
ro-
necessarily
he
need to be
robbed
for
a
this.
guy. He robbed a guy. So first you think he's like, okay, he's like a robber, and the store owner did pull a gun on him. So it's like,
Yeah,
okay, he's kind of in self defense kind of
stand your
deal.
ground. Yep.
But then like the next scene, he's literally just he murders a whole family, presumably a baby, or was that
Not
baby
the
in the
whole family.
orphanage?
No, he killed the mom and the dad, and I
Yes.
think we were
And
supposed to
oh,
assume that. Go ahead.
he killed the mom and the dad, and he sexually assaulted the mom before, because this movie, if there's a woman on screen, she's probably going to be topless in this movie, because it's
Yeah.
like it is the trashiest of slasher. This movie is so gross. Like, this is as sleazy as it can be, because it's violent and sexual and uh,
The 80s were such a great time for perverts to
oh my
direct
god.
films and get out all of their perversions onto film and
Yeah.
really show the audience what weirdos they were.
And
And
I would not be surprised if this director had some kind of background in pornography, because like one of the most uncomfortable parts of the movie, especially in the beginning, when the sexual assault happens that I'm talking about, like it's not shot like shocking. It is definitely shot to be like titillating, which is fucking gross.
yeah.
Like it is shocking when it happens, because it's just like this guy's like a robber. He just broke down on the side of the road. Then he just decides to murder this whole family kind of for nothing.
Yeah.
Like like his cars broke down, but like him murdering them doesn't really like move his goal forward at all. Like, it's very odd.
And we get absolutely zero like closure or any kind of
No,
idea what happens to the original Santa killer. So
no,
who you see behind me and TJ
yeah,
is the Santa murderer we come to know and love for most of the film. But for the first, what would you say, 10, 15 minutes of the film,
yeah.
it's
He's
like a
a
middle-aged psychopath.
well, no,
But he
well,
just
no,
disappears.
well, before then, it fast forwards to a Catholic orphanage, and the boy that survived this Santa massacre is there, and he is a weirdo because of he's got like PTSD or whatever, and then he walks around the church and sees two people fucking like for no reason. Like, what the fuck was that? Like, why did that happen? And like, it's like so fucking uncomfortable, because it's like those two like it has nothing to do with anything, but like they keep like cutting back to the boy, and looking through the keyhole. And again, it's like very like porno-y. It's like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
Then so this kid is in the orphanage and he's fucking, again, he's severely traumatized by what he witnessed. Oh, we forgot another weird ass scene that doesn't really make any fucking sense. Before that family got murdered, they go to visit their comatose grandfather, and like when the whole family's there, the grandfather's just sitting there not doing nothing. But when the mom and dad leave, he goes to the little kid and he's like,
Mom!
What do you want her for? She can't help you. Nobody can. You scared, ain't you? You should be. Christmas Eve is the scariest damn night of the year. I'd be scared too if I was you. You know what happens Christmas Eve, don't you? You know all about Santa Claus.
He brings presents to all good boys and girls.
Your daddy told you that, didn't he? Well, I tell you something. Santa Claus only brings presents to them that's been good all year. To the ones that ain't done nothing naughty. Naughty. All the other ones. All the naughty ones. He punishes. What about you, boy? You've been good all year? You see Santa Claus tonight? You better run, boy. You better run for your life.
Thanks, Grandpa.
Can't wait
Go
for
and die.
punishment. And then Grandpa, when the parents come, he's like he's like Porky Pig's frog. Like he's dead again. He just sits.
Yeah.
It's like, what the fuck was that? Like, why does this old man why is he terrified of Santa Claus? And like, it was so fucking weird. But anyway, but I digress. We go back to the orphanage, and the mother superior or whatever is like, she decided to give this kid like some tough love. Like, we know that he's insanely scared of Santa Claus, so I'm going to like force immersion with him in Santa Claus. And then this fucking 6-year-old, like, I kid you not, this 6-year-old fucking decks this Santa Claus and breaks his nose. It's the funniest thing I've ever seen.
And the guy's like, what the hell is wrong with that kid?
Like, he like fucking full on, like, he punches him in the face, and he like, the way that the Santa Claus actor reacts to the punch is so funny, because it looks like, it looks like something like from Indiana Jones or something, when a full-grown man punches another man, but it's this little kid, and it's just like, what does she hope to gain from just torturing this kid? I don't understand. It's so weird.
I mean, I feel like part of the blame can be placed squarely in Mother Superior's lap for forcing this child to go through these types of punishments.
Oh yeah,
like
100%.
So
anyway,
yeah, it would be awful for any kid to experience living at like an orphanage, a Catholic orphanage, and having to go through, like, being forced through this, and then like the Mother Superior is like, what's your problem? Just like sit on Santa's lap, just get through it.
Just fucking get over it, man.
Quit being an asshole.
Get over your
Santa.
trauma.
Yeah. So anyway, it again fast forwards another 15 years.
Oh no. Hold on. We have to give this his proper credit. So the Mother Superior, the next scene after he punches the Santa in the face, it's the other nun and the Mother Superior talking like, oh, we got to do something about him. There has to be something we can do. And again, you never see the kid. And again, to the audience, it's literally just a scene change. And then the nun goes to like the local toy store, and they're like, oh, can you get this kid a job, or da 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 da. And the toy store owner's like, well, I don't usually hire kids. And then she's like, well, let me get you in to take a look at him. And he's suddenly 18 years old or whatever. It's like,
Yeah.
what? And like,
Not
it's
only,
weird because again, to go back to the porno roots of this movie, like it's like a slow pan up from his waist. So it's like, look at this fucking hot boy I brought you. And then the toy store owner cuts back and he's like, oh, well, I guess it's like, it's so gay and
it
weird.
was
Like, it's
very
very,
homoerotic,
yeah,
and this nun was literally pimping out one of her like former orphans, you know,
yeah,
and
it
saying,
was,
"Oh, not as he not he's not just a boy, he is a grown boy." And look at him
yeah.
now, and it's just like
And
you
it's literally
slow
like
pan
that. It's
up, and
like,
he's like,
look at him now. And it's like, what is this? And again, they don't make any reference to the fact that like time had passed or anything. Like suddenly this child is a man. It's so fucking weird. Like
"Yeah,
I don't know if it's like an editing gaff or like, oh, and by the way, speaking of editing gaffs, this movie is fucking wild because like in between shots, there's like the camera, the film will look fine, but then all of a sudden it'll look like it was run through the mud. Like I don't know what happened when they spliced this movie together, but like certain scenes do not look like they were shot with the same camera as the other shots. It's
yeah,
fucking weird as hell. It looks like if you've ever seen one of those like special edition like DVDs where they put in like unused footage, but they like stitch it into the movie, but they make a big point to like this is this is unused footage, so that's why it looks rough. This is the final cut of this movie. They're like, fuck it, whatever. Um, so yeah, so then he starts working at the toy store. This toy store, by the way, I don't know if you felt this way, but like, this toy store has three full-grown ass adult employees. So I assume it's the fucking 80s. So those guys, you could work at the warehouse of a toy store and probably own a house and a car back in the 80s on this salary, which I thought was kind of funny. Because like the guy, his like warehouse boss is like 35, and he's just slugging back J and B all day. Which is
yeah."
also hilarious. Um, oh, I'm sorry, it has four employees because it's got the boss, the guy that owns the store, the stockroom manager, an older lady, a younger lady, and then our boy now who's now become a man.
That stockroom manager doesn't appear to have any real, well, his role is the stockroom manager, but all he does is piss off Billy and just
Yeah,
act
all
like
he
a
does is
total
piss off
asshole.
the Billy and drink. He just drinks in the back. Well, also, like, do you need a stockroom manager when your store is the size of a fucking closet? Like, it's not like they
Right.
work at a fucking Walmart. Like, they work at this little tiny ass local toy store. Like, it's fucking hilarious. Like, and object. If you look at it critically, you know why that they need more people to kill. But like, it just like it doesn't make any sense in the confines of the movie.
I,
Um,
I feel like we could go an hour and a half in each scene and dive into each
oh
scene
my
of this
god,
movie and just pick apart what is so
every
fantastic.
scene, yeah,
Every
yeah,
scene has something that is not just like hilarious, but hilariously bad. And it's I know why you love this so much,
oh my
because
god,
it's got so much 80s character, like
yeah,
its DNA,
yeah.
that it's impossible not to like this. And I feel like it's kind of, maybe it's not worth going through this whole movie because we'll run out of time easy.
Yeah, easy.
I
Yeah.
think, if we talk about why this is such a perfect 80s slasher and discuss how come neither of us have watched this before? Like, this
I
is
I
such a,
remember seeing this cover on in the video store for years because it's the cover is very evocative. It is
yeah,
this the chimney with the bloody Santa arm with the axe. I don't know why I've never seen this movie. This movie is great because it is so janky and like it is not trying to be a terrible movie. Like this movie was made with a lot of passion, but like by like really misguided people. Like
yeah.
every line of dialogue is fucking weird. The line deliveries are fucking hilarious. The scenario in which like everything happens is very funny because like again like the victim in the movie turns into the killer. So like watching this with current 2023 vision, it's like very problematic. Like the trauma survivor is the murderer because he basically gets triggered into becoming like a homicidal maniac. um the movie throws around again, there's a second sexual assault in this movie that happens. It's the first victim of Billy's. But what is kind of hilarious is that after Billy like kills the guy that is the raper, that it's the manager, the warehouse manager, the victim is basically just upset, and it's like, well, hold on, like shouldn't there have been a scene where it's like, oh my god, thank you Billy, thank you for saving me, and then Billy snaps and kills her too? But it's like immediately it's just like, Billy, what the hell are you doing? Like I'm sorry, like
I was
what?
wondering the same thing, but and now I think we're diving too deep into her emotional state, or not her emotional state, but giving the writers too much credit.
No,
That's
well, yeah,
like,
well, that's just what it is, right? I mean, I
yeah,
think that just shows the shallowness of these writers, because also we didn't mention, but there's a Billy has a dream sequence where he has sex with this woman,
yeah,
and of course she's again just another example. Like there's so much nudity in this movie.
yeah.
I didn't mention that the mom in the beginning, they cut back to her her sexual assault twice, so it's like it wasn't bad enough you got to see it the first time. They cut back to it at a more salacious like first person angle. It's like, Jesus Christ, guys. But then, but what I'm saying is that the girl, the victim, the Billy's victim and the shop manager's victim, like she's just there to be naked and killed, because like her emotional reactions like don't make any fucking sense.
Yeah.
Also, they drop the fucking hilarious, like, you know, the shop manager and her like making out. Also weird, by the way, to like get loaded at your workplace and then start making out with your coworkers. Like again, very odd.
And I
um
thought she was really into Billy.
I mean, that's what it seemed to be, but I guess
But
not.
she was just, I guess, yeah, at that holiday work party, it just seemed a little bit too easy for that
Dude.
warehouse guy
Oh,
to pull her
yeah.
into the back. Is just,
But he pulled her in the back with the, well, if you have a present for me, just show me now. I can't show you this present to everybody. This is a present you're really gonna like.
and
Like,
that's how
come on,
70s
man.
and 80s pornos all start.
Right, exactly, exactly. Also, the fucking owner of the toy store is hilarious because like he closes the shop and he yells, "Time to get shit faced!" Like, you know, he's so happy to get drunk, and he's just slugging. I don't know if J&B had some kind of sponsorship, but they are slugging back fucking J&B, which is the worst. I can't imagine
Oh.
drinking that, like just like slugging it down. Like, oh, that shit
Well,
is.
we've had Malort. We know how
Oh, I
bad
hate
it's
my
not.
lord. Yeah. I mean, J&B is just cheap scotch, which is one
Yeah.
of the worst cheap liquors imaginable. Um,
And they probably
but
filled that bottle with even cheaper liquor for,
oh yeah,
for the
you're
movie.
probably right. Yeah. Um, but yeah, like the girl, everybody is incredibly shallow, and the women in this movie just exist just to be killed, and but to make sure to be naked first. They're just a vessel in which they can be naked, because
Yeah.
later on, after Billy slaughters the entire toy store crew, there's just a random like Halloween ass scene where he just goes to some house, and of course the people at the house are having sex, because of course
Of
they
course.
are.
Yeah.
um and they're fucking on a pool table, which is something I've only heard of in like 80s jokes. I can't imagine fucking on a pool table. It
It
would
seems
be
so
very,
uncomfortable.
I mean, I would rather just fuck on the floor at that point. Like, I don't, a pool table. Also, you're gonna have to refelt that thing if you jizz on it. Like, come on, that's expensive. But yeah,
Uh,
so yeah, Billy walks to the one house where there's a sexy teenage couple having sex, of course. And then what I thought was funny in this scene is that the girl, that of course she's like the cat, or something. So she goes and lets the cat out with just her tits hanging out, which is like, the like what? Like,
I,
that's very odd.
there's no
Um,
rhyme or reason to it. It was just
no,
clearly an
again,
excuse
it's
to,
just an excuse. Like, you can just see like the filmmakers probably whacking off to the dailies. Like, it was just like,
yeah.
how much insane violence and nudity can we shove into one movie, right?
I can almost promise you there was nobody, no females on the production side of
Oh no,
this.
no,
And if there
absolutely.
were, they were probably like, I need to get out of this industry. This is some bullshit. Like this is
Oh,
such
100%.
a, like their morals must have been pushed to the freaking limits on this one. I feel sorry, and I'm truly apologize to any female that had to work on this set. That must have
Yeah.
been oh god. But this is really a masterclass in
You're being problematic.
not just like bad being good, like
Oh yeah.
80s horror. Like this is
Oh yeah, because there's no fat. There's no
no.
fat, right? It is premise, violence, violence, nudity, violence, 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 nudity, end of the movie. That's it. There's no time. Also, this movie's very short. I think it's like right around an hour and a half. But like it doesn't have time to be boring because like it just keeps going. And it's at the times where it wants to be serious, it's the most funny. Like when Billy is made to be, the reason that Billy gets the Santa costume is because he's made to be the Santa Claus that the Toy Story works at.
Yeah.
And like he like the first kid that and this is supposed to be like a serious scene because he's unraveling his trauma, but he like screams at this little girl. He's like this little, also this reminded me how bad like kid actors used to be, because the girl that's like on his lap doesn't know how she's supposed to emote. She's kind of standing there sitting on his lap just looking kind of weird, and he's like, what the hell are you doing? What the hell's the matter with you? And it's like and then like it cuts to the parents like, man, he sure knows how to take care of kids. Like that shit is funny as hell.
And
But
I
like,
know you love
again,
this part too.
oh,
His what should have been the tagline of the movie is punish. Every time
oh
he
yeah,
would kill
every
someone,
time he kills
he'd
somebody,
say
yeah,
punish. And it was like,
punish.
it was
Yeah, before he
so
kills the girl that works at the toy store, he's like a punishment must be wrought, and it's like, what the
yeah.
fuck are you talking about, bro?
Do you think, I mean, we're 40 years removed basically from the premiere of this movie. Was this scary back then? We were too young to watch this at the time.
I don't know how you could take any of this seriously. I mean, it's not scary, it's hilarious, but
But it's
maybe
not meant to
back
be
then.
humorous either.
No, no,
So
it's not.
were
And I
people
mean,
in the theater like cringing or were they, like covering their eyes? Like, do you think they were really genuinely scared of this movie, or was it even back then people were like, wow, this is some real bullshit, like, but it's
I
funny.
don't know. That's a good question. Probably, I mean, they probably were just like, man, there's a lot of nudity in this fucking movie. Like, I don't know. I didn't look up the numbers for this movie, but I told you via text that they made 4 sequels to this
Yeah,
movie. There are 5 Silent Night, Deadly Night movies, and I can only assume that the killer in the next one is that kid that they rack focus on at the end of the
that's his
movie.
little brother.
Oh, that's who that was?
That's who it is. Yeah.
I feel like the age gap doesn't quite make any
Of
sense,
course not. No,
but
it doesn't make
okay.
sense. But the you know, when you were speaking about like the beginning of the movie and the killer and how he killed the parents, I was wondering at the time, like, what happened to the little baby crying in the back
The
seat?
baby, yeah, yeah.
The baby is the one.
The movie's so trashy. I totally expected the baby to get killed. I was like, well, they're
Get
gonna just
bunted into the
kill the
woods.
baby, right? Like it
So I got
was
a
like,
couple of fun facts for you, TJ.
I
And
can't. I love fun facts.
these are a couple like, oh no shit, fun facts. So would you believe that this script was written by a Harvard student? So
Wow,
no previous experience, just the executive producer would accept open submissions for scripts and some
this was a
it,
spec script. Oh my
yes.
god, holy shit,
Yeah. So
mind blowing. Right,
it was originally called He Sees You When You're Sleeping. Also not a terrible
better
title.
title, better
Yeah.
title.
And the film's working title during the production was called Sleigh Ride.
I don't really
Actually,
care for that one. I don't
yeah.
like that one as much.
Silent Night, Deadly Night. I mean, obviously that stuck, but I think He Sees You When You're Sleeping. It's pretty
Yeah,
good.
that one's really good. Wow.
Now, would you
Did the
also
guy
believe?
go on? Did the guy go on to write anything else?
Not that I'm aware of. No.
That makes sense.
Oh man, maybe he doesn't want people to know that he was the one that wrote
Right.
this. So the second most interesting thing that you'll also say, oh no shit, Billy, the protagonist, he had no previous acting experience.
Yeah, I totally believe that.
Uh,
The
so
poster, by the way, the poster for Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2 is fucking hilarious because it's the reflection on a Christmas ball of a guy just holding a 45. It's like, okay. Like that's not quite as evocative as your first cover, but I guess like whatever.
All right.
Um,
Now, here are the differences between the R-rated and the unrated versions.
oh my
And
God, which version did we watch? I
I
wonder.
believe we watched the R-rated version.
I
Um,
now that I know that there's two cuts, maybe it's the unrated since there's all that weird keyed in footage.
yeah.
That would probably make sense.
So in the unrated version, Billy was slashed by Santa in his nightmare.
Oh no, we
Um,
did watch the R because that didn't happen in the one we watched. I don't think so.
yeah, I don't think it did either. Um, so footage of Billy killing Pamela is edited in the R-rated. Um, mostly most of the murder scenes were edited.
Yeah.
The deer impalement was shortened. Yeah, it's hard to tell which one we watched.
We must have watched the unrated because that deer impalement thing lasted fucking forever. So
Oh,
that
TJ, you need to talk
yes.
about the sledding decapitation.
Oh God. It's so good.
It's one of my favorites.
Also, that's like right towards the end of the movie, and you're like, "What the fuck?" Also, that scene is hilarious because it's literally like these two older kids, and they're like, these little kids are sledding. He's like, "Fuck you, get off my shit." They just stole their sleds. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
And those teens who stole the sleds were what, 35, 40?
At least 35. Yeah. Well, I always say this about like older movies, and I don't know what it was, but like that shop owner, like he looked like he was about 60. I bet he was probably like 32 years old. Like, you know. Uh,
All right. Should we do
anyway,
well,
let's
we'll
do a
leave. We
score.
won't talk too much about the sled. I mean, sledding decapitation, you already kind of get a sense of where that's
I
going.
mean, you kind of
But
got it. It
yeah,
just saying it out loud, you kind of like what you imagine is what it
exactly.
is,
Yeah.
basically. Yeah.
You know it's coming.
It's amazing.
Um, should we do scores?
Yes, I
I
think
want I
so.
want you to go first. I want to hear it. I want to hear
This
what
is a treat. This is going to be a new holiday tradition for me. I'm going to watch this every year. I may go and watch the rest of these movies.
yeah.
This is a 9.5 for me. I adore this movie. It's so trashy and disgusting. I love it. I don't know if I could recommend it to anybody because they'll probably think I'm a fucking lunatic, but it's great. I mean, if you like, like I've talked about this on the show, but like, people are like, oh, I love my bad movies. Like, watch this. Like, this is
Yeah.
a fucking. This reminds me of what's the one we watched with the guy that got burned? The Burning.
The Burning. Yep.
This is very similar to The Burning. Like, I
Yeah.
really enjoyed it. So yeah, 9.5. Excellent
9.5.
film. How about you, sir?
All right, I'm going to go with a 9.3.
Nice.
Also very high. I mean, like you said, this is not for everyone. Like this is for a
No.
very specific
And
horror fan.
if you're offended by like over the top everything and excess, yeah, this isn't going to be for you.
It is difficult to watch, and there are many times I had to pause it because my family was around.
Oh my
I felt a little bit nervous.
Why is dad watching a
in the
porno
same
movie in the
house.
living room?
Seriously, like there was a couple times where I'm like, I shouldn't even be
I
watching this like
I
during the
can
day.
Yeah, it's the sleaziest movie we've
It's
watched,
really, really
hands
gross.
down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And has the grossness has nothing to do with the blood and the gore. It
No,
has
no,
everything to do with the
yeah,
sex.
it's sleazy. It's
Uh,
very sleazy and disgusting.
um, so yeah, just like TJ said, like I'm not going to recommend this to many people, but
Yeah.
as a as a personal favorite of one we've watched this year, it's pretty high. I mean,
Yeah.
campy as hell, 80s through its core.
Yeah.
Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah, it's
So,
fantastic.
all right, well that about does it. So
Okay.
next week we
Yes.
are going to be watching what we discussed this, and
It's
it's a
shit.
wonderful knife.
It's a Wonderful Knife, which I think is a Hulu original or Netflix
I
original.
think so. Yeah, it's
So
got
yeah.
Justin Long.
Yeah.
It's new. It just came out. So we'll be reviewing that, and that will be our second installment of the Christmas theme that we have going
Yeah.
on.
The Christmas Day Massacre or whatever we're calling this.
I think we need to go and watch the sequel to this one.
I
I hear it's
can't
even better than the first.
I might watch it tonight. My interest is absolutely peaked. Anyway, it's probably gonna cut
Yeah,
off
we're
in a
getting
second.
close. But if you guys are listening to us, please subscribe. Watch us
Yeah,
on YouTube.
like and share us on TikTok. The algorithm will thank you for it.
It will help us. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Thanks,
All right.
everybody.
See ya.